What if Britain never lost an empire? The year is 2023. For over a century, the British Empire has stood as the dominant global superpower, controlling not just Britain, but also vast territories across the world, including Canada, Australia, India, and more. But how did they manage to hold on to their empire for so long? Well, that's what we're going to find out today. As we know, the original plan for the British Empire was for it to be a bit of a team effort. Britain would rule over North America, while Germany would rule over South Africa. But as the Berlin Conference was happening in 1884, things didn't exactly go to plan. The British, ever so cocky, decided that they wanted all of Africa for themselves. This, of course, caused massive outrage amongst the Germans, who promptly left the meeting, stole some kids, and started an empire of their own in a far-off island that no one really cared about. Meanwhile, the rest of Europe was going through some major growing pains. France had just begun their conquest of Indochina. Italy was looking to expand its own colonial holdings. But at the time, Britain's army was more focused on fighting the Irish than engaging in foreign wars. So what did they do? Well, they simply made the Irish into soldiers and sent them off to fight in places like the Boer Wars in South Africa. By the end of the 19th century, the British Empire was a well-oiled machine, able to project its power across the globe with relative ease. This led to the empire lasting all the way until today. But it wasn't without its problems. In 1914, the Austrians decided to invade Belgium, which was a bit of a problem for the British, who had promised to defend the country. So naturally, Britain declared war on Austria and began to mobilize its forces. But there was a small issue. Britain's army was still fighting in Africa, and most of their troops were currently in the process of getting demobbed. This meant that Britain had very few troops available to fight in the war. So what did they do? Well, they simply annexed Belgium, much to the outrage of the Belgians, who had never been asked if they wanted this. As the war went on, more and more people began to question the British Empire. Why were they fighting a war that wasn't even theirs? What was the point of an empire that was built on taking land from people who didn't want it? And why did Belgium suddenly become part of Britain? These questions would eventually lead to the collapse of the British Empire in 1918. But that's not the world we live in. Today, Britain is still a major player on the world stage, controlling not just Britain but also a bunch of other countries, and that's why.